my goodness. Wow. That's ridiculous, people. He's giving you everything he could possibly give.
And here comes Giannis. The Bucks and their march as the #1 team continues.
Well, we'll get the 1-4 matchup a lot of people were looking for in the East. The Greek Freak and Kyrie, Milwaukee and Boston. Giannis coming off of 41 points in 32 minutes in the clincher last night against Detroit. The fewest minutes for a 40-point game in NBA playoff history. As for Kyrie, he led the Celtics, averaging over 22 points per game in their sweep over the Pacers. It marks Boston's first 4-game winning streak in 2.5 months. So, thing is, we don't know when the series will begin yet, but when the long layovers end, the Bucks are the clear favorite over the Celtics in this second-round matchup. Westgate has Milwaukee at -300, so you'll have to bet $300 just to win 100. Back to Kyrie and Giannis. Listen to this from PTI. Kornheiser and Wilbon, take it away.
Hi, Wilbon. Who is more important to their team? Kyrie Irving or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Giannis, and this isn't close. As great as Kyrie Irving is, he is great. He's already wearing a championship ring. Giannis hopes to get one. We have seen the Boston Celtics play successfully over a long stretch without Kyrie Irving, over the most important stretch of the season, which is the postseason. They had LeBron James on the ropes and defeated last year without Kyrie Irving. Milwaukee can't do that without Antetokounmpo. And I like some of the parts, some of the ensemble pieces. Glad Malcolm Brogdon, presumably, is coming back soon. They need him. But Antetokounmpo, Tony, Milwaukee is close to a lottery team without Antetokounmpo.
So it's going to sound like I'm disagreeing with you because I'm going to take the other side, but I don't necessarily disagree. Okay. I think Antetokounmpo plays closer to his best more often than Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
So I don't know how much he can improve the Bucks from where they are. I think that Kyrie Irving is the wild card in this sense, and I want to be very clear about this. Having that ring means something. We talked today on our show about Bryce Harper and Jake Arrieta, and you made the point that Arrieta has a World Series ring. Kyrie Irving was a star in a Game 7 in a decisive game. So he's got something in him that we haven't seen from the other guy just yet.
Not yet. Haven't seen it yet.
So my feeling would be if Kyrie Irving plays to the top of the ladder that he's got, that has more of an effect on his team than whatever the Greek Freak can do.
Really quickly, if you were starting
do you disagree with that?
No, I don't really disagree with that because the value of a ring shouldn't be underestimated. Real quickly, though, if you were starting a team, you're going to build a team today. Would you take Kyrie first or Antetokounmpo first?
I'm partial to guards, but I think I would take Antetokounmpo first. I do.
I think we'd be in agreement again. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Coach of the Sacramento Kings, Luke Walton is being sued for sexual assault by a former sports reporter. Kelly Tennant contends that Walton assaulted her in a hotel room in Santa Monica in 2016 when he was still an assistant coach with the Warriors. Tennant, who was a TV host in L.A. at the time of the alleged assault, said in her lawsuit that she met Walton at the Casa del Mar Hotel to drop off a copy of her book for which he wrote the foreword. Walton then allegedly invited Tennant to his room so they would not be seen together by any Warriors players. That's when she says he pinned her to the bed, forcibly kissing and groping her, using his full body weight to keep her on the bed, and laughed when she yelled stop. The lawsuit also alleges that Walton continued to harass her after he became the coach of the Lakers while she was covering the team, including in May of 2017 when she says he, quote, forced an aggressive hug, end quote, and made an offensive remark about Tennant's outfit at a charity event. Walton's attorney calls the allegations baseless and calls Tennant, quote, an opportunist, not a victim, and her claim is not credible, end quote. Our insider Adrian Wojnarowski joins me now here on SportsCenter. And Woj, the timeline for these allegations involve 3 different teams, the Warriors, the Lakers, and now the Kings. How is the league handling this?
Sage, I spoke with the league office tonight. They're in contact with the Sacramento Kings, and they're going to start to gather more information in this. And our Dave McMenamin reports that the court filing, this is a civil suit, is in the process of being filed in LA's Superior Court.
Okay, I know you'll keep us up to date on that developing story. Meantime, back to the team Walton used to coach, the Lakers, and there are a couple of developments in their search for his replacement. McMenamin also reported that the Lakers interviewed former Bucks and Nets coach Jason Kidd yesterday in LA, and they're scheduled to interview Heat assistant Juwan Howard today. Meantime, late last night, the Suns fired head coach Igor Kokoshkov after just the one season. So, Woj, how does this move impact the Lakers' search?
Well, part of the timing in Phoenix of firing Kokoshkov was to pursue Monty Williams, the top assistant in Philadelphia. He's already interviewed once with the Lakers. They're in the process of setting up a second interview back east, perhaps as soon as this week. And he is at the top of the Suns list. I was told today that the Suns got permission from the Sixers to interview him. And now Monty Williams, I think his goal, I'm told, is to meet with both ownership groups, with both teams, and start to use that as a barometer of what might make sense for him.
Monty Williams, a longtime assistant with the Thunder, with the Spurs, certainly one of the more respected people in the NBA. That is our insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Thank you.
Still to come on this edition of SportsCenter. With the Thunder on the brink of elimination, who is Russell Westbrook's toughest enemy tonight in Portland? Plus, is Joel Embiid ready to go again tonight? The latest on the Sixers star big man as Philly tries to close out on the Nets in Game 5.
The city's facing tonight in Portland for Game 5. Thunder stars Russell Westbrook and Paul George being outscored by Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum in this series by 7 points per game. The duo is shooting just 37% from the field. Russ is just 14 of 49 from outside 10 feet, according to Second Spectrum. That's 29%. George, he hasn't been any better while his shoulder's not healthy. He's getting his points, nearly 27 per, but he's shooting just 37% from the field, 33% from outside 10 feet for the series. Royce Young on what a third straight first-round exit would mean for Russ and the franchise.
The Thunder are, once again, on the brink of a first-round playoff exit. But this time, there's a new level of shock. This year was supposed to be different. This matchup was favorable. This team was better equipped. But like the last two first-round outs, the series has served as a harsh evaluation of the team, and specifically Russell Westbrook. The Blazers are openly daring him to shoot and testing his will to resist. It's a game plan that pits Westbrook against his toughest enemy, himself.
Westbrook, air ball. Another big miss by Westbrook when they needed one.
It's not necessarily that Westbrook wants to win on his own terms, but his bulldozer approach, without a reliable jump shot to lean on, isn't holding up in the postseason.
Sometimes you have nights like that. That happens sometimes, but it just wasn't good enough for us to get the win. So.
Another first-round exit in Game 5 would make the Thunder 4-12 in the postseason since Kevin Durant left. And for a team with the second highest payroll in the NBA, they would enter the offseason with more questions than answers. And for Russell Westbrook, the next question would be a hard one. What now? In Portland, I'm Royce Young, ESPN.
Royce, thank you so much. Another game tonight. Nets, Sixers, Joel Embiid coming off that 31-16, 7-assist performance. Also had 6 blocks in 32 minutes. Game 4 Saturday. Dave McMenamin joining us from Philly with more on Game 5 as the Sixers potentially could wrap things up. It's the question that has dominated every game in this series. What's the status of Joel Embiid tonight?
Well, Kevin, an incremental gain in the status department for Joel Embiid. He's been upgraded to probable tonight, but of course, the cat and mouse game between the media and Sixers coach Brett Brown continued. We asked him about it before the game. He said, you guys know the answer. Game time decision. The way Embiid talked about Game 5, we certainly expect him to be on the court tonight, coming off that dominant performance. Brett Brown added, though, one thing he certainly is concerned about is the flagrant foul situation that Joel Embiid finds himself coming into tonight. Already 2 flagrant foul points. If he gets 2 more points, that means a suspension. The Sixers want to stay on the straight and narrow, win the game, and not jeopardize Joel Embiid's status in the second round.
All right, the place is going to be rocking. Embiid averaging 25 points per game and shooting 51% from the floor in the series. Last time a Sixers player did that in the best of 7, Charles Barkley in 1991 against MJ's Bulls. Dave McMenamin from Philly.
It's just that he gives me no answer. I just decided that I was going to keep asking just to let him know that he doesn't get to control the media policies. I had no aspirations that I was going to change him or anything, but I just wanted to send the message that, hey, we're still going to be here asking questions no matter what you guys might do. You know, somebody last night at the game told me this would never happen if David Stern was still the commissioner. He would not have let it gotten this far. The theory is that Adam Silver is too soft on the players. He lets the players sort of carte blanche, do whatever they want. David Stern would have nipped this in the bud.
Barry Trammell, once again, a veteran, well-respected reporter. And, Richard, it's worth noting that Warriors coach Steve Kerr came out and said that what Russ is doing is, quote, dangerous to the league. How much of a problem do you have with the way he handles the media?
Well, I think first of all, let's talk about Steve Kerr, right? Now, Arizona guy, that's my guy. But when you look at, how maybe his team handles the media at times, they're not the most media friendly, like when you look at the entire team. But I don't really like what Barry said. He's like, oh, well, we're still going to be here. He can't control the media. That's not true, because so many times we always talk to players and say, well, you don't have to do these interviews. You don't have to answer these questions. So, look, if he doesn't want to answer these questions, like when you really listen to the undertones, and I'm not saying that Trammell is not a great reporter and he's not well respected, but if you really want to listen to what Russell wants to say or doesn't want to say, that's his choice. If he wants to give short answers or don't want to answer questions about a situation or from a reporter, that's his prerogative. And then you want to blame Adam Silver, or you want to say that the former commissioner wouldn't have allowed this. I think you're looking for blame at other people's, why someone just doesn't want to talk to you particularly.
It does sound somewhat personal between Trammell and Westbrook. And again, Trammell's been there for a very long time, as has Russ. I have a feeling that is not over. Meantime, though, Richard, thank you. Unique perspective on that topic. As always, thank you for joining us. In the meantime, you enjoy the games. And how about this game tonight again? In the last 2 postseasons, keep this in mind. Russ has tried everything in his power to keep the Thunder alive when they've been on the brink. He scored at least 45 points, grabbed 10 boards in each of his last 3 playoff games facing elimination. But Oklahoma City has won just 1 of those games and lost both series. In the East, we know the Celtics and Bucks are going to square off in the second round. Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon will join us to answer a tough question. Who's more important to their team, Giannis or Kyrie? That's coming up.
Sage, just over a week after Luke Walton got a new head coaching job, he faces serious allegations in a sexual assault lawsuit. Our insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, has the very...
It's just going to be part of the story. If you've played any meaningful basketball in the NBA, you have a shot like that. If you don't, that means you haven't played in meaningful games, or you haven't been trusted by your coaches or your teammates to take that shot. He is on a great path in this NBA.
And he had a great game last night. Speaking about being on a great path, Mitchell gets it up top, nails the three-pointer. 22 years old, 23 in September, taking over this team as if he was a Grizzlies veteran. Spins in the lane, hits the shot. Real easy here. Only been in the league 2 years. He's really special. Jazz is on a 7-0 run, starting the 4th. Another 3, take another look at it. Mitchell had 13 points to start the 4th quarter. Impressive, as Kyle Korver would say. Jazz up 9, 4 minutes to go. James Harden turns the ball over. Who's there to take it in for a dunk? The young kid by the name of Donovan Mitchell. Jazz hang on to win 107-91. So after the game, we talked to Mitchell about how he feels.
We've had our backs against the wall plenty of times in the past 2 years we've been together as a team. I think this is familiar ground with us. And I think, everybody responded the way we expected them to. But the biggest thing for us is to take what we did today and multiply it.
Of course, we wanted to end it tonight, but we had plenty of opportunities. And, they made some plays in that 4th quarter, and we didn't.
I just thought they were the more aggressive team. And, they came out like they didn't want to die, and they did a heck of a job on being the aggressors early in the 1st quarter especially. I thought we were sloppy and didn't rebound the ball. Kind of righted the ship, and we start the 4th quarter. I think we're up 2 or 1 or maybe tie, whatever. And we didn't play very smart.
The hustle and the hope. It was able to do a lot of things. Still facing long odds, though. The Jazz are trying to do something that's never been done in NBA history. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit, as teams are now 0-134 all time. So good luck to Jazz. That's tomorrow. See if they can get it done. David, what do you have?
I got this Bucks-Pistons game. The Pistons were trying to dig out of a 3-0 hole. Bucks looking for the first 4-game sweep since 1983. Giannis, how about this move on Andre Drummond? Went up for the jam, reconsidered midair because Drummond was coming over, gathered it, and then somehow threw it in. It kind of echoes of the iconic MJ switching hand shot against the Lakers in the finals way back when. It's not quite that good, but still a brilliant midair improv to beat Drummond. He could just laugh at that point. And then Blake Griffin thinks he's got a charge. No, it's going on him. I thought Griffin was moving myself, and then the chant starts up. Sometimes you just get caught up in a good sing-along. It happens. So Blake probably agreeing with the fans. Fourth quarter, this was Giannis's night. It's been his series. It's been his year. The and one, and another call goes against Detroit. Griffin's seen enough. The Bucks made 22 more foul shots than the Pistons. Biggest disparity in a postseason game in 4 years. Bucks finish off the sweep. Giannis had 41. He's into the second round for the first time in his career.
Just to win our first playoff series with this group right here, it's unbelievable. I think we played great basketball. We stuck together the whole series. I remember our first playoff series. We lost from Chicago. The last game, Game 6, they beat us by 50. It was something insane. But you know where we were and where we are right now. It's been an unbelievable journey.
And the journey continues. The Bucks don't stop here. They will face the Celtics in the conference semifinals. The teams met 3 times in the regular season. Bucks won twice. Teams haven't played since a 1-point Bucks win in February. It'll be the 7th time they've met in the postseason, with the Celtics having won 5 of 6, including the 1974 NBA Finals when the Bucks were out west. In the first round last year, they played a 7-game set in which the home team won every game. Giannis is good against everybody, but he really enjoys torturing the Celtics. He averaged 31 and 10 against Boston this season, and he did the same thing last season. Carrie?
All right, David, thank you for that assist. The scene is set, and we have the numbers, so our Jalen Rose will give us some context on Celtics and Bucks. So, Jalen, the big storyline in this series is Boston is trying to slow down Giannis. We just mentioned that Giannis averages 30 and 11 against the Celtics. So how do they contain him?
So a couple of things, Carrie. Driving to the basket, he's virtually unstoppable as it relates to layups and dunks. So you want to try to crowd the paint and force Giannis to be perimeter-oriented. You'll live with the three-point shot and you'll play the percentages. But on the other side, when you go against a great player, you can't allow him to relax defensively. And he got my vote for Defensive Player of the Year. However, Al Horford, Baines, Morris, those guys have to be a threat offensively, in particular making jump shots, so that you now open up the paint and force Giannis to be out on the perimeter to guard while your playmakers get a chance to penetrate towards the basket. It's going to be fascinating to see this dynamic how it plays out.
Side note, is he your MVP, referring to Giannis?
He did not get my vote. Carrie Champion. I voted for James Harden, and here's why. James Harden and Michael Jeffrey Jordan are the only 2 people to play a season and have 2,700 points, 500 rebounds, and 500 assists. Like James, what he was doing individually was historic, so he got my vote.
All right, I'll get back on track here. Focus on tonight's Game 5 between San Antonio and Denver, with the series tied at 2 apiece. Spurs seemingly had the edge with that first road win. You've liked, though, some of the adjustments that Denver has made. So as for San Antonio, what could the Spurs do to take over this series?
You got to get White back going. He was terrific, had a 30-point game in Game 3. Then they did a great job of slowing him down in Game 4. They made the adjustment, as you just mentioned, of putting Craig in the starting lineup. He played well for the Nuggets, and Barton off the bench played well. So now for the Spurs, your counter is your veterans. DeMar DeRozan has to have a signature game. Can Rudy Gay give him big quality minutes? Mills making shots off the bench. You need Aldridge to be an anchor down low. Going to Denver and playing in a hostile environment and dealing with the altitude is going to be a challenging thing for the Spurs. They've already gotten a win on the road. The Nuggets seem to be more poised about this playoff thing right now. I think Denver finds a way to get Game 5 as well.
Wow. All right. So Denver has never won a best-of-7 series that was tied at 2 apiece, going 0 for 3. Jalen with the knowledge and saying perhaps they get the game as well tonight. Thank you for joining us here on Coast to Coast.
The champ is here. Appreciate you.
That's right.